Too kind.
Thank you very much. All right. What are we doing here? This is summer almost. Couple of weeks away formally, but it feels like it. At least we had a couple of nice days. And I was behind the curtain and I was trying to figure that out. Why am I not somewhere else having, I guess, knocking back a few and smoking a good cigar instead of being here? Well, I guess because this is fun, for one thing. Planet Valenti Television, PVTV. This is episode 5. I wasn't sure we would get this far. And it's kind of amazing that we have every show comes down to the very last second, and then I have to come out here and fill an hour, which is the fun of it live. And I was talking to one of our crew members prior to the show, and he was telling me that it's the only show he's done that's live. I don't know of any others of this type that have been done this way here, live and in real time, as they say in the computer world. And I explained simply that I like doing it this way because it's the scariest. There is absolutely no safety net. You're walking a tightrope, juggling 3 chainsaws that are going at the same time over a boiling pit of lava. That's basically what it's like. We will take some phone calls if you wish. Now, let me just say something about that. You know, we did the show last week, and it got a great reception. Our guest was Terry Kinnis, and we did some fun stuff with the empty suit and whatnot. And by the time we got into the show, the phone calls started coming in almost literally at the last minute, but probably in the last 5, 10 minutes they started. And at the end, they were telling me the calls were just backing up. And we ran out of time because we were pretty much into whatever it was we were doing, and I didn't want to stop what we were doing. So I would advise you that if you wish to call up and have a go at us, to do so right now, because we'll squeeze you in. And our equivalent of, I'll just take a walk over here to the couch and have a seat, but it's the equivalent of phone calls with our letters department. And I think, if I am hearing correctly from our esteemed director, Dave Bubrisky, who is manning the controls back there at the Starship Enterprise, that we do have a video letter to the editor. Is that the case? But let me get to a couple of ones that came through on the planet. These two are from today. And as you probably know, folks, we've been broadcasting about the budget here on the show. It's come up as a topic. We're trying to understand it, scratching our heads because the figures are doing awfully funny things these days. They're sort of like the butterflies in your stomach before you actually get on stage. They're not flying in formation. And we're trying to figure out why. We've been posting on planetvalenti.com, which I'm pleased to say is experiencing a new wave of readers. And the evidence for that shows us that at least some part of our message is getting through, and the number of hits on this show tell us as well. But the budget's been a topic as well as it should be. It's by far the most important thing that happens in the city, to the city, by the city, and allegedly for the city all year. Upwards of $140 to $150 million of your tax dollars will be set aside to run the services and goods of government for another year. All
Good
well and good,
afternoon.
provided that the
I, David
numbers
F.
are
Capeless, am the leader of Berkshire County.
fair and that you, the taxpayer, Mary Jane and Joe Kapansky, are getting some bang for the buck. We've long given up getting full bang for the buck here in Pittsfield, as I hear from taxpayers almost on a daily basis. And I'll make a prediction here, anyways, that the budget request that the city council will take up on Saturday some budget will be approved. We know that. It will be an increase. I would be shocked if it wasn't. It hasn't happened it's only happened 3 times in a generation. Out of the last 30 budgets, only 2 have actually seen a decrease in the overall spending. So more than 90% of the time it doesn't happen. That means your taxes are going to go up. And you know what they say every time they do this, whether it's going up $1 or $5 or $10, whatever it might be, and they tax you on the thousand. So if your house is valued at 150,000, it's the tax rate times 150, and it's become a broken record. And whether it's vinyl or CD or DVD, it doesn't matter. It's still skipping on the same thing. For some folks, that extra $5, $10 a month, $2 a month is going to make a difference. And that's what we are trying to point out. Sometimes we do feel like Sisyphus pushing that large rock. That's Greek mythology, not Sisyphus. Sisyphus. That's Greek. He was condemned by the gods to push this large boulder up this steep hill. And just as he would get to the top, the boulder would roll back down again. And he would have to push it back up, expending great effort with little to show for it. Well, however little we have to show for it, we do know that we've had an impact. We've saved the city at least a few $1 million. You'll recall, and we will get to the letters in a moment. My point was that if it's an extra $1 a month, it's going to make a difference for households in this town. The population is still shrinking, and folks who can afford to leave the town seem to be doing so, and we want to stop that. No one loves the city of Pittsfield more than the planet does. We were born here. We spent our formative years here. We went to school in this town. We went away to college. We got into a newspapering career. And then in 1980, when it came time to break away from newspapers and try to make a living as a writer, try to exchange words for dollar bills, if you will, we decided to come back to the Berkshires. Has a fine literary and creative history. As a matter of fact, I only need to say Herman Melville on Holmes Road, and you know what I'm talking about. Arguably, I don't think it's the greatest American novel ever written, but it's in my top 3. That was written right here in Pittsfield. I decided to move back to Pittsfield. I had my business in downtown Pittsfield at 2 locations, first in what is now Crawford Square, and then after 4 years, we moved across the street to the Shipton building for 28 total years. That was 28 years of paying taxes in this town, 28 years of employing over those years about 70 full-time writers, a couple of secretaries as well, and generating millions of dollars in payroll that stayed in this town. So I have a stake in this city. I have family and friends still here, and we want it to succeed. This is the point. And this is the point of what we do. And we will not listen to anybody who would dare suggest that we are being negative, right, as the mayor and his people like to put out. If anyone is being cynical, it's the mayor at this point for the budget he has put forth. And we'll discuss that a little bit later on in the show if we get to it. Let me go to some letters that came in about the budget, and today's post on planetvalenti.com deals again with this. And, you know, you try to triangulate the information and tell it in many different ways so that it sinks into a few people, and I think it is. I think it is. I think there is discontent anyway. Whether that translates into action, we'll see. This letter comes from Nostradamus. Little play on words there. That deserves a laugh, I think. Let me say that again. Nostradamus. That's pretty funny. Yeah. He was a 16th century predictor guy, right? He predicted the Red Sox would win 3 World Series in the 2000s. More than any other team, by the way. Nostradamus writes this: prediction: the budget will pass with a tax increase to the taxpayers of Pittsfield. Not really going out on the limb, but in any case, he follows up, it always does. That's how things are done in Pittsfield politics, he writes. Wait till next year when the budget will top $150 million. Sure, maybe they will trim it a little so some councilors can save face, but expect a tax increase, citizens of Pittsfield. Bend over, and take it like a man in prison, Nostradamus writes. Remember, it does not matter what the mayor and councilors promised when running for office. That was just campaign rhetoric to get elected. It matters what they do now, and I could not agree with that more fully or completely. It does matter what they do now, and what they, the pronoun, plural pronoun they, refers to our right honorable good friends on the city council. I'm just going to go over here and get a little taste of my my elixir. This is not a product endorsement, by the way, and I swear, TK, it's iced tea. How sweet it is. Oh, this was, I think I'd take another hit of that. That was the jungle juice that was sent over on the set tonight, and we appreciate that. So Nostradamus makes a great point that the council is going to take this up. Now get this. You would think, and who wants to challenge me on this? Go. If we give the phone number, go ahead. We'll do it. I have it here, 445-4234. Who wants to debate this? Who wants to stick up for this spending plan? Feel free to call or feel free to bash it, which is, I think, the correct position. If you really take the time to crunch the numbers, there's funny business going on with these numbers. Let me explain. We had, actually, I think that budget sheet that, it okay. Someone walked off with it. I think I will remember from memory, though, that when the mayor of the city, the empty suit, Tess, as the nickname has caught on, when he proposed the figures to the school department in his presentation a couple of weeks ago, I don't need it. That's okay. Yeah, you can stay right there and get that. Actually, we got some hooting and hollering. I think some boos as well, because I think when we share these amounts, it does deserve the Bronx cheer. But he goes before the school committee, and I think that was the infamous night when he told a private citizen who had the audacity, folks. Think of this. A private citizen had the audacity. Look at these lovely plants, by the way. You want to see how strong I am? Watch this. Huh? That's pretty good. These plants were here when Peter Arlos was knee-high to a grasshopper. They spare no expense at PCTV, as we find out about 2 minutes before airtime every evening. A private citizen gets up and wants to speak at that meeting, and the mayor says, "Oh, wow, what a surprise," basically saying, "Do not do this. Leave it to us. We are the experts. We know better. We know better," as Tess would say. Bullspit. You know bullspit, Mr. Mayor. And why don't you man up and answer the challenge of this show and show up here in the hot seat in poison, in the flesh instead of in the fabric? I see, they love it out there. They want to see accountability. And that's the reason, folks, why the mayor, ever since we told the truth about how his administration royally botched Spectrumgate, ever since we did that, he decided, well, since the planet is not going to shill for us as we thought, then we'll avoid him. And it's pretty convenient because we're the only game in town that dares to ask the unpopular questions and dares to follow me along. Look at every show I come out from behind this curtain, and y'all remember, don't look behind the curtain, right? From the Wizard of Oz. They don't want you to look behind the curtain. They didn't in the film because they could see that the wizard was a fake. He was a phony. And it's the same thing here. They don't want you to look behind the curtain. Well, I'll tell you something. I've spent my entire career looking behind the curtain in my reporting on politics. It's included presidential campaigns all the way down to dog catcher. And we follow politics with an interest, and we still believe, naive as we are, that the citizens own the government. Imagine that. He's before the school committee, the mayor is, our gutless wonder, and he proposes a $148.14 million plan, $148.14 million. And we've looked at that proposal on a couple of previous shows. Now, the city council is going to take this budget up for review, and it's morphed into $141 point change million dollars. And you'd think, gee, the mayor cut $7 million out of the budget. Something stinks around here, because that's not what's happening. And I am in the middle of going through a review of the figures. And you know, you would think it would be straightforward that you have a certain amount of revenue coming in. A budget is an estimate, I understand that. A budget is a flexible document. It will be adjusted as conditions change during the actual year, but you're budgeting for the upcoming fiscal year, and you make your best guess at revenues coming in. Some of those are known, and your expenditures as best you can do it. Some of those are known as well. And you tally these up, and there's a figure. That's not how it's working this year. You don't find a straightforward presentation. If you go online, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, if someone knows, but I believe if you look for the budget online, you'll find it on the city council's website. And you call it up and you'll see 141 million and change. And so the question is, has this $6 million plus been cut? And if you just look at those two figures, simple math would seem to suggest yes. However, and there is always a however in this town, the dreaded asterisk. Ask Roger Maris how much he likes asterisks. I don't like seeing asterisks in city budget plans. There is one next to the school department expenditure. In any case, you call up the budget figures and you try to make sense out of them. For one thing, and just let me refer to my notes here so I get this right. The budget plan of $141 million plus has a debt summary in it that is incomplete. What's the debt summary? Well, it's basically a summary, not the actual figures, why they don't include those, I don't know, of all of the money the city owes. Did you know, for example, that the city still owes, give me a nod if this figure is correct, $23 million on the bonds for the previous school buildings needs borrowing. That's when they renovated Reed, Herberg, and 4 or 5 elementary schools. There's $23 million of that borrowing that still has yet to be paid. How does that figure into the spending plan, Mayor Bianchi? That's money that's going out. You have to service that debt. It costs money to service the debt. You don't really find this. You also find some odd, and we're going through these figures now, so we don't have the complete final answer here, but it seems like that missing $6 or $7 million from 148 and change to 141 and change is in a different part of the budget where it lists assessments. Assessments is money going out. Bottom line is this, take it to the bank. It's harder to understand than Rubik's Cube in a snowstorm, blindfolded. Harder to get done if by getting done your goal is to understand what these figures mean. I have serious doubt, and I don't doubt that some of the counselors are upset by this. We've heard stories to that effect. Whether they'll do anything about it is another thing. But I seriously doubt, and this is no criticism of my right honorable good friends on the city council, that they understand what they're looking at. Yeah. I don't know. We've had some people who are sophisticated, one person in particular, whose name I won't divulge, who is an economist, who is used to dealing with sophisticated budgets and figures, trying to make head or tail of this. So at the bottom line, there's this sinking feeling that they're pulling something. Now, that's just being realistic based on a long-term history of recent budgets of the past generation and short-term history of this particular mayor, who either has no clue as to what he's doing financially or has a clue and is cynically trying to literally buy votes. That's what this comes down to. Now, I noticed that Mayor Alcombright will tip the hat to the mayor of North Adams for at least proposing and seeing through and working with his city council some actual cuts, 19 positions, I think, in North Adams, including 10 teachers. Can you imagine the travesty? Can you imagine the vast eternal plan that would be upset if they proposed cutting one teacher's position in the city of Pittsfield? You would see the protests, and you would see the vested interests pack City Hall, and they would bring their children with them and line the children up and tell us, oh, I can't even say this without breaking up, that we're depriving the children. Oh, boo-hoo. We're depriving the children. We're taking a teacher away. The city's student population is it's dipped below 6,000. It was hovering right at that. We've lost between 400 and 500 students to school choice at a cost of between $3 and $4 million. How does that figure into your budget plan, Mr. Mayor? And with half the number of students and twice the number of teachers and quintuple the amount of administrators, they, meaning the mayor, the school committee, who does not escape unscathed here. What a piss poor job done by the school committee this year, chaired by Kathy Yon and our 6 other right honorable good friends on that committee who put forth again a budget that increases the take. It's a take, one of these gimmies for the school department. And we wouldn't mind if we were leading the league in education. Sad fact is, we're not. And if you don't believe that, you got to do some talking out there, as we do. Talk to the people involved in higher education, college, where the Planet, disguised as Professor Valenti, mild mannered instructor at a local college, fights a never ending battle for truth and against ignorance. Talk to people who are getting the. It's wonderful. Yeah. Talk to the people who are taking. It's like the Statue of Liberty. Give us your poor, your unwashed, and we'll take them all in. Well, at Brookshire Community College, it's an open admissions campus, so we take whatever comes our way. And we get many products of the Pittsfield public school system. And I'll tell you, there's a reason why BCC and colleges, not just across the state, but across the country, have to provide remedial math courses, remedial reading courses, and remedial writing courses. The 060, we're not even talking freshman comp 101 and 102, 060 remedial writing. Why? Because our great Pittsfield public schools, despite, and we will add it up, and it's since ed reform went in 1993, it has to be in the multiples of billions of dollars. We just ran through the figures last week on this show. If you take the 57 million that is proposed to spend on the schools this year and add the hidden costs, and again, this is how the mayor and the council and the school committee budget, and the superintendent of schools, we got another Jake on our hands, Jake McCandless, who did such a great job in Lee. They gave all the glowing recommendations, apparently, to get rid of the guy because the Lee School Department and the selectmen there have been scratching their heads trying to make their budget balance. Anyways, we took him up here, and he proposed another status quo budget for the schools, and we don't have anyone sticking up for what makes sense. No one that I know of or have talked to who has at least the IQ of room temperature. That's saying a lot, I know. But no one wants the schools to fail. That's why you'll hear in the campaign, they're all for strong schools. Well, yeah, that's a pretty interesting stance. So am I. But I am not for throwing money down an endless sinkhole. And we get the products. We see on campus every day students who are not equipped to handle freshman level college work. And among the courses I teach are Composition 1 and Composition 2. Really, I would say the two most important courses that a young person will take in college is composition. Why? Because in comp, the way I teach it, there is lots of reading and lots of writing. The two skills that will help students negotiate every other course they take throughout their college career. Now, something is seriously wrong with the system when you have students who have a high school diploma in their hand. They've passed all of the tests. They've done all of that. They've probably got straight A's. And they come to college, not just BC, but other campuses as well. You name it. BC, Princeton, a lot of top schools have to have remedial work. But if you look at the status of Pittsfield public school students when they come in, and again, we're generalizing, there are many exceptions, but the level is shocking at how bad it is. Why do you think they're leaving in the hundreds to get out of the system? They're doing this, parents are doing this for their children because it's working? I don't think so. Now, this budget review again coming up on Saturday. What a great time to do that. On a Saturday afternoon, a day, by the way, that our PNM, our Pa and our Ma are celebrating. Get this deserves a huge applause. A 70th wedding anniversary on Saturday. Keep that going a little bit. Yeah. 70 years. My mom has a great explanation for surviving 70 years of marriage. She raised 3 boys, my 3 sons, and only after the fact do you appreciate what your parents really do and how much they go through to give you the inside track in life and help you out as best they can. My mom's secret, she's all of 92 years old. My dad's 93, a veteran of World War II, Battle of the Bulge, saw it all, came back here. They got through the Depression, came back after the war and put down stakes in this city, established a beachhead. They could have gone other places. There were opportunities to do that. My mom wanted to stay in Pittsfield. And those of us who remember growing up in the 50s and 60s in Pittsfield know what it was like. It was wonderful. It was Leave It to Beaver, as a matter of fact. My mom was June Cleaver, and my dad was Ward, in the sense that they were there for us. We had meals together as a family. That was the city we grew up in, and it goes back to my point about loving the city. And we're going to continue to show this city tough love. And we know it's working when they, the suits, when they don't like it. And they're not too happy with it these days. We will be showing you some film on that at some point, maybe on tonight's show or next week, but we had the Generalissimo. As a matter of fact, we do have some film. We're going to cut to that in just a moment here. But I wanted to complete my point about Saturday, the day of my dear parents' anniversary. We've got a great party set up, and it's not a surprise, so if they're watching, they know all about it. Some dear friends of ours have hosted, and we got quite a tasteful, nothing overdone. That's not how they are. But Saturday morning, I think starting at noon, so whether that's afternoon or morning, I don't know, the city council in chamber is supposed to take up the budget in a marathon session. Now, first of all, they were given this budget on short notice last Friday afternoon at noon. Why does Mayor Bianchi submit the budget to the council formally on a Friday at noon? Why would he do that? Maybe to catch them off guard so they won't have a chance to prepare. We heard posted today, go to planetvalenti.com, which is this address. Just add the .com there. And we have quotes from all of the city councilors except for the 2 that did not get back to us. Jonathan Lothrop, we're still waiting to hear from you, buddy. And Churchill Cotton, the entire city's waiting for him to say something. I mean, I think he was, didn't he star in the silent movies with Buster Keaton? Get back to us. We want to know. The other 9 members did. And you can read their comments, what they said about the budget. And This is what they gave me on the record. Off the record is not necessarily the same story. There was some upset at having the budget submission done on such short notice. So the mayor then follows that up with a presentation that the numbers of which do not match the numbers he gave to the school department. Strange, strange things indeed. May you be born and live your life in interesting times. So the wise man said, and we do. On Saturday at noon, and still, and we know, we've tried to plow through these numbers with an expert in economics, and it's hard to really figure out what's going on. We think we have a notion, and the mayor's trying to skunk you, basically. Fact of the matter is, this budget needs cuts, and we've had some discussion in comments from councilors. I think Councilor Kroll said it, and Tony Simonelli, Ward 7, Councilor Simonelli, saying, yes, we should look at the 85-15 percentage split on health insurance. It's an enormous cost. And I wish I did have that other sheet before me because it has the percentages of increase in the budget. Pension costs going up double digits. Health insurance costs going up double digits. City, you taxpayers who are listening to me right now, I want you to step forward. You might be listening to me now in a bar room. You might be wherever you are, you step forward for Jesus and say that you want to have a say about this budget. They want to tax you back to the Stone Age is what they want to do. That's really the technical explanation of what's going on in this budget. And as I said before, I have the naive, innocent belief, gosh, I'm so innocent, I'm a babe here. I believe that citizens own the government. There's a great story about the noble Greek statesman and general Pericles. And Pericles is on the Senate floor, and he gives an impassioned speech on an issue. Doesn't matter what the issue is, but in the audience attending the meeting is a citizen who is on the opposite side of this issue. And he's outraged at the stance of Pericles. The meeting is over. Pericles is walking back to his home. They didn't have limos in those days, right? Senators had to walk, not like today. He's walking back, and this guy is stalking Pericles. And his bodyguards intervene, and they start to rough up the guy. And Pericles intervenes, and he says, unhand this person. And they say, why? He's about to give you grief, serious grief. And Pericles says, unhand him. Why? Because he holds the most important title and office in all of Athens, and that is private citizen. Now, I believe that. And when it's all said and done, folks, I can say on the planet, and even before that, when I was hosting a daily radio show for 14 years, and the only person to write simultaneously, to be a columnist simultaneously at the same time for the Pittsfield Gazette and the Berkshire Eagle, I was doing it then. I did my part. Now, what about you? You got to put some pressure on the council. We need to make some serious cuts. There are no cuts. Here's the mayor's idea of a cut, the school's idea of a cut. First time the budget was put forward, they wanted a couple of $1 million of increase for this or that, and basically Jive took that out of the budget. There's $1 million and 1.5 million and a half in pay raises that are contractually bound. Taxpayers are bound to pay that to the teachers. Excuse me. Choke every time I say that. And you're bound to pay that net is the school budget increase was $1 million. That was the previous iteration we looked at. They were going to get $1 million more. Now they took out a fake $700,000. You see, this is all they think their money is this. If we can just kind of watch this, these are funny bucks, and that's how Pittsfield budgets. Except they kind of do it with real money. You see, and they're throwing around. Let's see, this is $1,000 bill. Fun bucks. These are fun bucks, and that's what the city uses. And they're counting on the fact that you are angry but apathetic and that you won't do anything about it. Well, we're trying to stir it up a little bit, and that's what democracy needs, is a force and a role such as the one we play. Someone's got to do it. We're more than happy to do so, let me tell you. I don't blame you. And I'm with you, folks, the little guy. And as a matter of fact, we introduced a little teaser last week on the Generalissimo, and I'm just going to step out for just one moment. You can still hear me, and we're going to go back and just show you these two artifacts. And Stan, if you could get a nice shot of that hat. Look at that. Look at the scrambled eggs on that baby. Whoa. That's an impressive. That is one of the Generalissimo's hats. And this is one of his custom-made Cubans. This is actually this is Dominican, okay, right? But the Generalissimo, he wouldn't send me a Cuban. What do you think? I'm just a member of the press, and anyways, we are going to break a story right now. The Generalissimo did visit downtown Pittsfield yesterday in full regalia, and it included a stop at City Hall where he visited the city clerk's office looking for a permit. Permit to what? A permit to dictate. He's a dictator, right? He wants to do things by the law. And if we have film on that, we can show this right now, give you a taste of what's coming up on next week's show. Anytime soon. Is it going?
Hey, we're rolling.
So, this is City Hall, huh? This is where the Generalissimo take over. I think I shall like this place. This will be sufficient when we do the coup. Cut. Generalissimo. It's good to meet you.
Glad to meet you.
We are taking over the government. We know we can count on you for support.
You got it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We are taking over the government right now. Oh, thank God. This is what you call a coup.
Oh, you got your jersey
You say this is
down.
French coup. See? It's green, I think. The last time they kicked me out of Honduras, it was green. But anyways, I am the Generalissimo. We take over the government. We know we have the support of the people. Because you know why? The Generalissimo, he loved the people.
Yeah?
He loved the people. And the people, they love me. Don't you love me?
I love it.
Wait, they love me, they love me. Oh, they love me, they love me.
You know, that's not want to meet my wife.
It's very good. What's your name?
Treasure. Irene?
I am the Generalissimo Juan Carlos Jose Feliciano Ricardo Montalban de la Vega, no están de la banda Señentes de la Santana.
And what's your nickname?
Harry.
Harry.
That's what they call me around the house. You see, this is it. But we take over the government and we take care of the people.
That's good.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
Look at all your medals.
Yes, this one, I won the pie eating contest in Paraguay.
That one?
That's what.
He was on a battleship, New
I
Jersey.
honor your service, sir. I honor that service.
And this is his hat, too.
That's a ship I
That's the
got.
Korean War. Yeah.
This is good because you see, the people, they know how to serve. They know how to serve the Generalissimo. We love this. That's why we love the people. Now, we go in, see if we can get a permit to dictate.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. You're just telling me stuff.
I've heard that, please.
And this is the press here.
I'm not looking forward to it.
He is a free press. This will be a thing of the past when the Generalissimo take over the city. Now, we are here to see if you can give me a permit to dictate in the city.
A permit to dictate?
Yes, we are going to be the dictator, you see, so we need a permit to dictate. We want to do
Interesting.
things legal.
Right, well, and you should. And you should.
We want to follow the law.
Of
The
course you could.
Generalissimo, he respect the law.
And that's the
He
good thing.
respect the law. Yes, it is. So
It is.
what do I do to get a permit to dictate?
You know what? At the time, we don't have one.
They don't have a permit to dictate.
No.
Does this mean I must take over the government by force?
Well, let's hope not. Maybe if you just talk to enough people nice enough, they'll let you take it over.
The Generalissimo, he's nice to everybody.
Excellent.
And you know what? The people, they love the Generalissimo. You know why?
Why?
You know why? Because the Generalissimo, he loves the people.
Well, that's good.
And I shall remember you when I take power.
Excellent.
Very good.
Good
Thank you
luck.
very much. All right. And to my friends in the press, we say, hasta la vista.
That's what he said.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, man. Look at this. They're going crazy. Yeah. That was just a taste of, and his full name is Generalissimo Juan Carlos Jose Feliciano Ricardo Montalban de la Vega Nostanda Lavanta Señentes de la Santana. I had to memorize that because he said if I didn't get it right, I'd be shot, right? I love the way they do things. The heck with democracy. We need the Generalissimo. And I'll tell you right now, he has told me that he is taking over all of the press except for the Planet. He's a big fan of ours. Before they kicked him out of Honduras, in fact, he was a great avid follower of our blog, and he will probably make a live appearance on the show next week, but he also visited downtown North Street and ran into some interesting characters along the way. He even stopped by the mayor's office during his visit. We only had time to kind of put up a segment of that. So that's a little taste. And you know what? You might as well go that route, Pittsfield, for all the say that they have given you in your government. You might as well just go with this guy. And I think, well, someone's telling me we have a phone call. Could that be true? No, I guess not. Someone is on the phone, but not for us. They didn't pipe it through. Let me just go back here, and I'll tell you what. We got that celestial music there, Dave. Do we have the music from the heavens? Wait a minute. All right, we do have a phone call.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we do. Good evening. You're on the air with the Planet. Hi there.
Hello.
Hello. Well, I'm hearing
I
nothing.
just wanted to say that the
I hear
presentation,
nothing.
my brother, was one of the
I know
finest
nothing. I
acting
hear nothing.
performances I've ever
Must
seen
be
in the city
Sergeant
or
Schultz.
anywhere in this world. And
Apparently
Mother
he's
would
talking, but I can't hear a thing.
be so proud, but you must know
And
your
they're
real
trying to
nickname,
figure out
which
why.
is Vegas.
Why? That comes up a lot on the show, as a matter of fact, trying to figure out why things are. I'm going to go to a letter while they're trying to figure out that technical bug. This is a letter that was sent in by Larry Mondello, who was the Beavers' friend. The top 10, get this, folks, the top 10 rejected titles for a TV show. You were waiting for that. Top 10 rejected titles for a TV show about present-day Pittsfield. These are the shows that were proposed, but the titles just didn't make it. First one, Bianchi Knows Best. I Dream of Bianchi. Bianchi's Heroes. Bianchi's Heroes. This one, Berkshire Hills 01201. Yeah. Just, yeah. Allen Street Blues. The Man from Montello. It's kind of an inside joke. As you see, the mayor, he pretends to be the mayor. He's not actually the mayor. He just takes his 87,000 and change and runs over across the street to 100 North Street, 3rd floor, suite 302, where Dan Bianchi is still on the payroll of Global Mondello, the energy company, and gets a nice piece of change for that, I'm sure. So that 87,000 that you put in his pocket for doing nothing, that's just walking around money. Here's another one. Leave it to Bianchi. Thank you, Mrs. Calabash. The Bianchi Bunch. Guess not. How about the Berkshire Hillbillies? Come and listen to my story about a man named Dan. I'm not going to go to that second line, which just popped into my head. We got to keep this. Remember the time slot. Yes. A poor politician. No, I won't say that. How about? All right, folks, listen out there. You'll love this one. How about? I've got a secret job. Yes. I guess this next one is a takeoff on the $6 million man. How about the $148 million man? And finally, our see, they're just getting it. The audience is a little slow. They hear the joke, and then it registers. And this is a nod to Chet Huntley and David Brinkley, a couple of my journalistic heroes growing up. Walter Cronkite was another one. Charles Collingwood was another one. And This one is called Bianchi and Brinkley. That's the last one. There's no more. I knew they'd love that. Yeah. Now, do we have, Dave, the celestial music? Dave, can you give? Yes, we do. Okay, because I think I'm going to bring the empty suit on just for a cameo this time because we are running out of time. And if you cue up that music and... Is it playing? Yes. Thank you, Stanley. Keep it going. Close up. What is this? Are we on or off? What the boop is going on here?